Let's say you are at a stock market party and there are two people across the room. One of them is loud, flashy, telling everyone about their returns. Bro, my small cap just 3x'd in 8 months. Everyone's crowding around him. And the other one is quietly sitting somewhere. Nobody is paying attention. But if you actually walked up and talked to him, turns out he's been consistently making money for years. Silently, steadily, without anyone noticing. That second guy? That's large cap stocks in 2026. And the crazy part is, while everyone ignored the large cap stocks, their fundamentals quietly got stronger, earnings went up, and business improved. But the stock price, that didn't move much. Now, that gap between a business getting better and the market not caring, that's historically where some of the most interesting opportunities have been hiding. So, today we are going to answer one real question. Should you actually be looking at large cap stocks right now? And if yes, why and where? Hi, I'm Aparna, and in today's video, we'll be breaking down three things. Why large cap stocks are suddenly worth paying attention to. We'll look at actual large cap stocks, see what the numbers say and what they mean for you as an investor. And third, whether this is actually a buying opportunity or not. So by the end of this video, you will have a clear, honest framework to decide whether large caps deserve a place in your portfolio right now or not. Let's get right into it. Alright, first let's just quickly make sure we are on the same page. Imagine the entire Indian stock market as a cricket team selection. Large caps are your top players, in this case, top 100 players. The Rohits, the Kohlis, the Bumrahs, proven, experienced, and everyone knows what they bring to the table. And just like how these players are always the first ones picked for the national squad, large caps are also usually the first place where domestic mutual funds and foreign investors put their money when they want Indian exposure without taking too much risk. Mid caps, they're basically the next 150. Talented players still making their name, high potential but still proving themselves. And small caps, everything below that. Raw talent, could be the next superstar or could also not just be. Nobody really knows yet, and the market prices them accordingly. Large caps are priced for what they are today, and small caps are priced for what they might become tomorrow. That distinction matters a lot, especially when market conditions change. Now, here's something that's almost clockwork in markets. When everything's going well, the economy is humming, confidence is high, everyone's willing to take more risks in exchange for more growth, this is the time when small caps generally outperform large caps. But when the cycle matures and the market begins worrying about valuation, inflation, interest rates, or global events, that's when the mood changes. At this time, small caps don't just correct, they fall hard. And large caps do not necessarily rise the most, but they usually fall less. Here's a number that should stay with you. During major corrections 2008, 2020, 2022, early 25, small caps fell 2 to 3 times more than large caps. So a 10% fall in Nifty could easily be a 20 to 25% fall in your small cap portfolio. Now let's do some simple math together, and this is where it gets uncomfortable. If your stock falls 20%, it needs to rise 25% just to get back to where it started. But if your stock falls 50%, it needs to double. That's 100% return just to break even. And suddenly what felt like an exciting high growth bet starts feeling very different. This is why large caps aren't just about making money. A big part of the value is about not losing it. Okay, now let's look at why valuations matter again, and this is the section that I really want you to pay attention to. Because right now there's a very unusual thing happening in the market. Different parts of the market are sitting at completely different valuation levels, and the gap between them is kind of wild. Let's start with small caps. Even after the correction, and there has been a meaningful correction, the median PE ratio in the small cap universe is still around 32 times earnings. Their long-term historical average, that's 20 times. So small caps, even after falling, are still trading at roughly 60% above their own historical normal. Let that sink in. After the correction, still 60% above normal. Now flip to large caps. The Nifty 50 trailing PE has fallen to below 20x, and once Q4 FY26 earnings are factored in, the effective multiple is already below 19x, which is almost exactly matching the Nifty's long-term average of 18.9 times. So large caps have gone from expensive to fair. Now I know what you're thinking. Fair value isn't cheap. Why should I be excited? And that's actually the right question to ask. Because 18.9x is not a steal, let me be honest with you on that. Now, if you look at the Nifty's current return on equity, which is around 16%, and assume long-term earnings growth of about 10 to 12%, then a mathematically fair valuation for this index is probably somewhere between 16.5x and 18x. So we are not in deep bargain territory. We are somewhere between fair value and historical average. But, and this is important, inside the index, something much more interesting is happening at the individual stock level. Data shows that many of the biggest companies in banking, IT, and FMCG are already trading below their own 10-year average valuation multiples. Look at these numbers. Infosys is trading at 17.6 times earnings today. Its 10-year historical average is 23.4x. TCS at 16.7x, historical average is 27x. ITC at 17.5x, historical average is 26x. HDFC Bank is trading near 2x book value, long-term average 3.8 times book value. Now, these companies haven't suddenly become bad businesses. Their earnings have continued to grow. What's changed is the multiple the market is willing to pay for those earnings. And here's why that's happening, and this is key. For most of the last 2 to 3 years, stock prices were rising faster than earnings. Investors were paying more and more for the same rupee of profit. Everyone was optimistic. Now that's reversing in large caps. Earnings are still going up, but the price investors are willing to pay per rupee of earnings, it's fallen. The business is improving, the stock is being priced more conservatively. And that's a very different setup from small caps, where in many cases stock prices ran far ahead of fundamentals and are now correcting back. Now let's get into the actual sectors. Let's start with banking, which remains one of the biggest weights in the large cap universe. Picture this. You run a bank, and every quarter you are collecting more deposits, giving out more loans, earning more interest income. The business is objectively doing better. But somehow the value the market puts on your bank keeps going down. That's literally what's happening with HDFC and ICICI Bank right now. Let's look at the Q3 FY26 numbers for HDFC Bank. Net interest income 32,620 crore, up 6.4% year on year. Deposits grew 12.2%. Loans grew 9%. The bank is growing steadily on every metric that matters. And the stock? That is trading at around 15.5 times earning versus its 3-year median, which was 18.9 times. At its peak in 2025, it was trading at 21 to 22 times. So earnings went up, but stock valuation went down. ICICI Bank is also following the same pattern. Total income came in at 54,908 crore and operating profit increased to 20,400 crore in Q3 FY26, which is consistent growth. And it's also trading at 15.5x trailing earnings, also below its 3-year median of 18.9x. Two of India's most profitable, best managed banks, growing steadily but trading cheaper than they did 2 years ago. This isn't a business problem, this is a sentiment problem. And sentiment, unlike fundamentals, can turn relatively quickly. Now let's look at the IT sector, and I want to reframe how you think about this sector. For almost 2 years, the narrative around IT has been global slowdown, weak tech budgets, clients cutting spends, delayed projects. And that narrative pushed the stocks lower. But here's what actually happened in the numbers. Take Infosys. The revenue kept growing steadily. And more importantly, its large deal wins, basically the forward order book, stayed strong at around $4.8 billion for the quarter. A significant chunk of that is coming from AI and cloud transformation projects. That means future revenue visibility is still intact, even though the stock is trading below the valuation multiples it enjoyed during the 2021-22 period. TCS is also showing a similar trend. The order book for Q3 remained above $9.3 billion, and here's a number that surprised me the most. Its AI-related services business has already reached an annualized revenue run rate of around $1.8 billion. So the narrative says the business is struggling. The numbers say the order book is full and AI is already contributing real money. When narratives and numbers diverge, investors who read the numbers tend to do better. Both stocks are trading 15 to 25% below their previous highs. A company that keeps winning orders, keeps its margins healthy, and is already generating AI revenue but trades at a meaningful discount to history, The market isn't pricing in bad fundamentals, it's pricing in fear. Fear driven pricing has a tendency to correct itself once the narrative catches up to reality. Now, let's move on to the next sector, which is FMCG. The sector most of us completely gave up on. For the last 2 years, investors avoided FMCG because volume growth was soft and valuations still looked expensive. But in this period, something quiet happened. Let's look at ITC numbers. Q3 FY26 consolidated gross revenue is 21,578 crore, which is up 7.1% year on year. EBITDA up 8.2%. And look at the FMCG non-cigarette business, the part everyone said would never work. Revenue is up 11% and segment profit up a stunning 42% year on year, as margins expanded by 145 basis points. Even the cigarette business is still delivering 8% revenue growth and 5.1% profit growth. Now, here's the earnings story over 5 years, and this is the one that really makes you think. 5 years ago, ITC's earning per share was around 10.5 rupees. Today, it's 16.5 rupees. Earnings up more than 50% in 5 years, but the PE on the other side, it has fallen from a 5-year median of 24.7x and a peak above 30x to just 17.5x today. More profit, lower price to profit. The market is paying less for a better business. Next is Hindustan Unilever, again same theme. Q3 FY26 revenue up 6% to 16,235 crore. EBITDA margin healthy at 23.3%. Home care, beauty and foods all running steadily. EPS has grown from 35 rupees to over 46 rupees in 5 years. But PE has fallen from a 5-year median of 55.6x down to 44 to 45x today. So the FMCG story is not that these companies are suddenly back to very high growth. The bigger point is that the earnings have stopped deteriorating, margins are improving, and valuations have already corrected. Now let's come to the final piece of this puzzle, which I think most retail investors don't factor in enough: liquidity. When foreign institutional investors or FIIs come back to India, and they will come back eventually, where do they go first? Not small caps, not even mid caps, but large caps. Why? Because they are deploying hundreds of millions of dollars, sometimes even billions. And you simply cannot do that in smaller companies without moving the price dramatically. The liquidity isn't there. Large caps are the only place where big money can move quickly. And look at the current global environment. Growth is slowing in several major economies, interest rates remain elevated, geopolitical tensions keep rising. In exactly this kind of environment, global investors tend to move towards bigger, more stable, more liquid businesses. So if FII flows return meaningfully to India, and historically they always do, large caps are the first beneficiary, not by a little, by a lot. Now let me bring all of this together for you. A year ago, large caps were expensive relative to their own growth. You were overpaying for the stability. Today, that's changed. Many large caps are cheaper relative to their own earnings history. The businesses have continued to improve, but the market hasn't rewarded them. Meanwhile, many small caps, even after correcting, are still priced as if everything is going to go perfectly. So the question is no longer whether large caps can rise faster than small caps in a perfect bull market. The more relevant question is, in a market where growth is slowing and valuations matter again, will investors start valuing stability, earnings, and downside protection more than they did before? If this video helped you think about your portfolio differently, share it with one person who needs to hear it. And if you want me to do the same breakdown for mid-cap stocks, just comment mid-cap. If enough of you ask for it, that's the next video. See you in the next one.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.